Let's cut over. Welcome. Hopefully you're hearing me, the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Well, we're testing a little something out now, something a little different as far as sound is concerned and the like. So return to what? Reactive. Screw you. But welcome to the show. I hope you're hearing me out there, at least in the in on the scope of YouTube. Wow, I just turned my phone all the way down and it just said no. So let's see. Let's see if it comes popping in here and gives us a little bit of audio. And then if I'll really quick, I'll close it up real quick. But yep. Hey, they're hearing us on YouTube. Good thing. Say hi.
Hello, people.
He's still doing homework.
I'm just looking at different. I'm always looking up research and stuff like that. What's going on, everybody? It's almost football season, but not yet.
Yeah,
but tonight we got a few games that are kicking off, some preseason games.
And is that? Yeah, that's right. But it's definitely crazy season. Today has got to have been one of the craziest days of my life without even leaving my apartment. It was amazing. Both good and bad. Good stuff happened. I mean, good stuff happened, but some other stuff happened as well too. Challenges of life, baby. That's what it is. But we are here. We are here to talk about sports. We're here to talk about fantasy football. We're here to break things down for you. I'm here to screw up my Zoom feed because the background thing we're working on. We're working on it. Today, somebody left their lavalier microphone at home, and we had to resort to it's a good plan B, the Yeti Nano. And hopefully it's sounding that good on all streaming on all platforms. Hi Twitch, how you doing, everybody on Twitch? Both people that are watching us on Twitch.
Hello, Twitch.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot better presence on Twitch in the very near future. But let's kind of get to the meat of the nut here, because you have just been in pre-show. You have just been jabbering on and on about quarterback rankings.
Well, we talked about some stuff pre-show like we normally do. Hello, good people.
Both of them.
The NFL executives, they put out these rankings usually around this time, once it's beginning of preseason.
Right.
And, of course, all the different positions. But I was looking at the quarterback rankings. Now, on our show, what we talk about is a lot of fantasy-type stuff, fantasy-based information, because we want to make money, we want to win leagues, we want to crush a little Hard Rock app, all that good stuff. But NFL executives want to win football games, right?
And we do, by the way.
Yeah. So their rankings come out for quarterbacks. And what struck me on this one list was Caleb Williams and Brock Purdy are 11 and 12, respectively. Now, they're two different quarterbacks. I mean, obviously, Caleb is a lot more physically gifted. Everybody's up Caleb's ass, in my opinion, based upon the last couple of plays in some big spots that, again,
I'm not going to argue with you.
It's so funny when there's such a thing as recency bias. When something crosses your path and you see it, you become so enamored with it that you kind of lose sight of what really is going on. All the talk about Caleb coming in was the fact of the most important part of being a quarterback is not just making big plays or having the ability to make big plays. It's the ability to read defenses. It's the ability to make adjustments. It's the ability to be coachable. It's all these different things that are super important in a position.
By the way, we are sounding and
looking
really good on Twitch right now.
Very nice. Very nice.
Y'all need to watch us on Twitch.
And obviously with the hire of Johnson, Ben Johnson, this guy is no nonsense, super smart. And, it didn't seem like it was meshing early. Now, the Bears had a good year last year.
Little communication problem.
They got a lot of skill position players, and they played really well. The Bears outperformed, in my opinion. But, for me, it's just not about two plays a game, potentially, which Caleb made some of the best plays we saw all year. I would rather have a guy at the position that's going to give me a 90% ceiling 90% of the time than a guy that can only get to that, let's say, half of the time. But wow, look at the two plays he made, that maybe no one else could make in the league.
Walk off, game winner.
I just put less importance on the eye-popping stuff and the stuff that matters, which is the consistency. Now, they're not the same quarterback, in my opinion. They have different strengths, different weaknesses. But according to NFL executives, these guys are almost the same guy. It's tough to split hairs. So it just for me now, fantasy wise, what's important to us, Caleb is a top 5 guy, and the difference is because of his mobility, because he can move. And at the position, we know how important it is to be able to run.
Purdy can extend plays too.
He can, but he's not a top 3
just not
runner
as
like Caleb.
fast as Caleb.
Yeah. And of course, this could be coach speak, but you're hearing stuff now about how quick Caleb is, about one of the fastest guys on the field, and they're actually thinking of designing more run plays, more RPOs. To me, that seems like an overreach, because the last thing you want to do is have your quarterback running design plays. I mean, that's no matter how
design QB runs.
Yeah, it's just why put your franchise guy at risk?
It's a gamble,
and it's not something that I think a Ben Johnson type guy would be willing to do on the regular. That's all. But again, maybe you'll see it once or twice, and again, it's probably going to be in what he feels to be extremely advantageous spots. Where he's going to be in positive game scripts, where he's going to put his quarterback out there in that spot. So.
Well, and also let's not forget, sometimes young man will call his own number.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, you know me, I've been a fanboy of Caleb Williams since the Oklahoma days. Okay. I mean, Lincoln Riley owes that kid money. Okay. Because that kid made him famous, got him out at USC. Yeah. So when the kid hit the NFL, and of course he runs into Nagy, oh, what a horrible head coach. Great offensive coordinator, horrible head coach. Of course the kid's going to fail. And now that they've got a guy who can cater the offense to his strengths, a guy who now they're on communication-wise, they're on the same page. Yeah, I think you're going to see some special things out of him. I think he's going to come in a lot higher in the rankings than where he is now, which is what, 9th, 10th?
Well, that's just the NFL ranking. I mean, in terms of the executive rankings,
right?
Fantasy wise, again, what's important to us,
reality wise,
he's being drafted. Okay, ADP is probably, I think he's as the 5th quarterback taken, 5th or 6th quarterback taken. Just ahead of a Burrow and stuff like that. Again, it's because of the mobility.
You think it's justified?
I mean, last year he ended up, I think, 8 or 9 overall, but I mean, he did miss some time as well. So, I mean, obviously, it's the upside. It's the ability if what we're talking about, again, pre-show, what Ben Johnson said, bragging about how good the offense is going to be. They've got great skill position players. So they're going to put up points, right? The offense, or at least you assume the offense is going to progress off of last year. So, points are probably going to come. And
points is points.
If that's the case, your quarterback's the guy that's going to be facilitating that.
And talking about they want to break the scoring record, and now they have 17 games to do it with.
Yeah, it's going to be if all goes well, and he could very easily be inside the top 5 for fantasy. Okay, there's football going on tonight. There's games. They're preseason. Personally,
that's part of the reason why we're starting early, because we don't want to hang out with you. We want to go watch some of these games.
Yeah. Preseason is important for some reasons and not as important, I think, for some others. So we can maybe go back and forth on that. Important, yes. It means that the clock has turned and it's on, all right? Season 1, week 1 preseason. We're 4 weeks away now from the regular season.
The Hall of Fame game is just a taste.
Yeah, it's just getting your lips wet a little bit and getting.
It was a good game, though, huh? I mean, tell me they didn't nail the over.
Oh, the scoring was tremendous.
Carson Beck.
But in terms of the importance of the outcomes, health is the most important thing. Obviously, you want to see any and all starters that are involved that we're looking at, certainly in terms of drafting this year. You want these guys healthy. You want these guys available week 1. There's already big injury news. We talked about pre-show, like the kid from Chicago, Luther.
I should just turn a camera on him right off the bat. But go ahead.
And got hurt, so he's out. But certainly preseason, there's storylines. I mean, the Mendoza era begins.
Well, we get a quarterback matchup rematch between Mendoza and Carson Beck. We get that, at least for the first quarter. I know that they're really, really hyped to get the 2 old fart quarterbacks on the bench there for Arizona. back. I mean, Minshew. I don't know. Is Minshew actually going to play during the preseason?
To be honest, I haven't looked at the starters. Who's playing?
Warm up the mustache.
No,
but
this is me.
Brissett. Listen, you have a serious Russell Wilson situation right now, where the kid is coming in and he's balling out, and the veterans are like, "Oh, I got this in the bag." No, you don't. So expect something strange happening in Arizona, because Kubiak, he don't want to mess around. He wants to, or was it LaFleur? Which one is it? There's the brothers have all gotten jobs this year.
LaFleur.
Is it LaFleur? LaFleur. Little LaFleur.
Junior LaFleur.
Little, yeah, junior. No, just a little.
Mendoza.
Is
he playing? Is he going to be?
Yes, he's starting.
I'm saying, okay, now
he's starting.
I know he's playing tonight, but is he going to be end of the year quarterback for the Raiders? Does he go into the offseason next year with how many games under his belt from this season? Is he week one starter, do you think?
No. So the big problem with Fernando Mendoza is that he took exactly 4 snaps under center in his college career. Okay. He has not got the experience of, and that's where Kubiak went. He went to with the Raiders, went to Las Vegas.
Yeah.
Okay. So Clint Kubiak, guess who his dad is? Guess what he does? Play action, under the center. Has he ever turned his back and then taken a 12-step drop? No, he hasn't. It's nothing that he is used to. He is literally going through pro quarterback polishing camp every damn day. Fortunately for him, he has a great mentor. I think Kirk Cousins is custom made for him.
You like that?
Yeah, I do like that. Yeah, I do like that.
You like that?
I told you I would have taken him on Miami anytime.
I know.
He's a riot. It's the only way you could get any nerdier football combination is if Kirk Cousins played for the LA Chargers, because you get those khakis with Harbaugh, and Cousins will lobby to wear khakis while playing quarterback. Okay, so we're talking about dads here. Okay, we're talking about Walmart dads. So the situation is perfect, and honestly, they can't say we don't care if we win, but they really shouldn't care about. All they should care about is getting the kid opportunities. So if Cousins, even though he's playing well, if Cousins plays 4 or 5 games and you see the progress in practice of being under center, maybe give the kid a little mop-up duty, okay, get his feet wet, and then stick him out there and give him his first start. You got to make it at home.
10 games?
Yeah, 6.
Okay.
6 or 7.
6 sounds good.
6 or 7, especially if they go 1-5.
But he's currently, everything I've seen on him in front of the mic has been just above and beyond. And everybody says the same thing. The kid's polished. He's smart.
He was made in the lab.
Yeah, he's coachable. He's super gifted. So you would imagine with the lineage and with the people around him, it's going to be a success story.
Don't be fooled. The kid drops F-bombs. Yeah. Okay, I've heard plenty of games where he dropped an F-bomb. The Penn State game dropped an F-bomb.
Whoa.
Yeah, he curses. Don't act like he's from Miami. Don't act like he doesn't. I don't care if he's a rich kid from Miami who went to prep school. He curses. So don't worry about that. But he is clean. He is polished.
What I want to look at in
franchise quarterback.
No, for sure. And I really think that he's going to be there. I mean, outside of the business of football, if the Raiders want to keep him past this first contract, I think they're going to have themselves a quarterback in the future. So, yeah, for sure.
Made in the lab.
Other games tonight that, if you're going to draw importance out of the games like we did for the Raiders, it's Mendoza. The Chargers. Chargers open tonight. Now, the Chargers last year.
Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, we have a new regime here. And their offensive line last year, and it's been this way for the last few years, was just probably bottom 2.
Bad.
I mean, just terrible. Despite that,
Terrible.
The Chargers went 11-6. Okay. And
that's the Harbaugh effect right there.
All the combination of things. It's the quarterback play. It's Harbaugh, the fact, first year. And the fact that they were 5-1 within the division, which obviously is a big deal. So they addressed it, at least on paper, in the offseason. They signed guard and tackle, I think, the first 3 rounds. They went out, and I think Joe Alt is healthy, at least coming into camp this year.
Yeah, the 2 guys that got hurt last year are healthy.
Massive. So statistically, with Alt in the lineup, his passer rating is like 106. So it's pretty nice to have your comfort blanket there on that left side, protecting your blind side.
That is the bitchy Dolphin fans daily double for the offense. Okay. Oh, imagine what Mike McDaniel could do if he had an offensive line.
Yeah, or X or whatever. No, but you know what though? It's each part of the puzzle has to fit.
Right. And everybody who didn't want to draft Tua but wanted to draft Herbert, now they want, okay, so now he has Herbert and an offensive line.
Yeah. Well, I guess we'll see how it goes.
We're going to find out.
Yeah, no excuses now. So it's going to be kind of interesting to see how their offensive line plays. Now, key in on the first couple of series because those guys are going to be in there. And if they're getting a push, listen for the AM report, see how the coaches are reflecting on the game. And because how this relates to us, why it's important to us as fantasy players is because if we're looking at guys like, let's use Marion Hampton as an example. His value is being driven up into the first round in most drafts. Now, he wasn't a first-round player last year.
I wouldn't draft him in the first round. You might, but I won't.
But, what makes him a first-round player this year or an early second-round player this year? So, look at the stories as to find out why. And if the narrative is changing based upon what the team's attempts are to do, which is to improve the offensive line, then maybe Marion Hampton deserves to be a back-end first-round selection or, an early second-round selection and can be an RB1. So it's these individual storylines that pertain and are important to how we assess players, skill positions like the running backs, the receivers, stuff like that. Game script is very important, and the ability to do certain things are very important. If you cannot block, then it's going to be very hard for Marion Hampton to get to that ceiling, which you expect or you're hoping he does if you're going to be spending a first round pick on. So look at that. Lions, same situation. Lions play tonight. They opened their preseason, and their offensive line last year was their Achilles. And their roster, I think, is as good as anybody's in the league.
They made improvement.
Even better than the Chargers' overall roster. But offensive line, if you're not protecting, especially a quarterback like Goff, who is a statue in the pocket, he's not a mobile quarterback, then the offense can't be as productive or as good as you want them to be to produce what you want them, because you're taking guys, you're taking Gibbs, you're taking St. Brown, your players that are on these teams that matter. So look at those individual storylines, find those individual battles, and if the team seems to be happy with those things, check. I like it. Those players are on my board still. So,
well, you also have to dig a little deeper. Their WR2, okay, Jameson Williams. He's a lot of people are saying breakout. What was last year? Yeah, last year was a breakout. So how about just he does another year like he did last year and just stays consistent? Then you're still getting a very good statistical year. You're getting games from that guy that can win you games. So
yeah, but to me, James, or Williams is more of a best ball guy. We've talked about him specifically,
right?
Because he's a boomer bust guy. So. But as a whole, it doesn't matter because the Lions, they can have that and still be successful. They can have, their other key pieces be intricate and then just get Jameis to blow up 3 times a year and to carry them. But what was important for him was when Laporta went in, and that's when he had some of his best weeks. So it's good to have the depth. It's good to
throw it to somebody.
Yeah, obviously if you're on the field, but no. So offensive line play very important. Use those in your rankings when you're going through and building maybe criteria would be the best word, or a baseline, a foundation of what you think your player is going to do for the season. Because it's not just, well, he ran for 1,500 yards last year, he's going to run for 1,500 yards this year. There's a story behind it. You have to kind of find out what the new story is going to be. That's what we try to do. So not easy, but it's fun.
I'm trying to figure out the medium distance for this background, and see, it makes my face disappear.
Well, why? Question: you're moving. I'm not. I'm disappearing.
Right.
What's going on?
I think it's a lighting situation, or it's a frames per second. That's okay. The new camera's coming.
Yeah. So obviously preseason tonight. Watch some games, get some scoop, and then tomorrow it's important to look at all the analysis for some of these teams. Don't look at the box scores. There's going to be a guy that's going to rush for 100 yards in some game tonight. That's on nobody's radar. That everybody's going to be like, oh my gosh.
Why not Keaton Mitchell, by the way, who is on the bench for the LA Chargers?
Right. But again, some skill position player is going to just have a huge statistical game or games, and you're going to be like, wow, wow, wow. Just make sure that there was a reason why that player got that many opportunities and touches and stuff like that. Maybe it's warranted, but for the most part, as we see, it's not. So don't get in love with the statistics of preseason. Get in love with the storylines and the objectives of what the teams are trying to do, and see if they achieve them. And if they do, then that offense is something some of those players you're looking to target. That's my opinion. You know what I want to talk about? What is your take on Sean Payton? Do you like him as a coach? Like, if you were starting now today, let's rephrase the question. What I want you to do is not look at him based upon maybe who he was or the time he was in New Orleans. If you were starting today, franchise, are you calling Sean Payton to be your head coach? Based upon the landscape of the other choices that you still have?
No. Okay. There. And listen, being a Dolphin fan, I'm a little tender on the subject of Sean Payton. I'm mystified as to why nobody hasn't slapped Stephen Ross for that, except for the team got penalized. Thanks. So while Sean Payton is a great organizational guy, he puts together great organizations, he puts together great coaching staffs. He's still got it when it comes to personnel. He still connects with the kids. But if I'm starting over from scratch, that's not a guy I go with. It's just not. You have to go with a young, smart coach. I would be more likely to go after Mike McDaniel after a year at the Harbaugh Academy to show how you deal with players. Okay, but I would put a guy like Mike McDaniel with a really good young and nerd like McDaniel. You have to get two guys that are of the same mentality. You got Shanahan and Lynch, same mentality.
6 of the top 8 coaches last year were under the age of 40 years old.
Finally.
Okay, so what I'm going to say about my reference to Sean Payton, it's not a knock on Payton. Listen, in life,
you're saying he's old.
We're getting older, okay? And as we know,
for yourself, I'm 49.
As we are getting older, things tend to get by us a little bit easier,
and they itch.
Well, that's behind us or under us, but no, I mean bias. Like we just don't see it, or we just don't care, or we just don't know. We just don't know. Whatever it is,
my lawn.
The point is that, and it's a normal, natural progression. In a sport like football now, where you mentioned relatability being a factor, I don't know what his relatability is, because I see him as a dictator, per se. I think that worked where he came before. in terms of work with New Orleans, and in the sense because there were two dictators, two guys that not necessarily got along real well, but worked well together because they were both so vital for what their roles were. And I just think that there's been some misses in Denver. And my concern is, and I'm just going to lay it out right now, Denver last year was 11-2 in one-score games. That's really good. Okay, I mean, it's tremendous. That's the reason why they were so successful last year. But it's something.
Could it be the coach?
But it's going to be something that's very difficult to repeat. These things tend to regress to the means. Now, what those means are for Denver, I don't know, but I just don't see a team of any stature going year to year being 11-2 in one-score games. So I kind of feel like that's going to kind of step back a bit. And I think to start the season, if I look at their schedule and what Vegas is telling us, they're dogs in 4 of their first 6 games this year. Okay, now that's what
it's a tough road to hoe, man.
Okay, they got a tough schedule ahead of them. If there is a failure in Denver, their offensive line was top 5 last year, defensive line last year, top 5 last year. If there's a drop off to start the season and they start losing some games, I know it's not going to be Peyton that's going to get in front of the mic and defend his quarterback. That's just not who he is. And from that perspective alone, it's going to be Nix that takes the pressure and takes all the heat. And that's not
it's the 3rd year, 4th year.
It's
3rd year.
Okay, so even more so,
hitch up the big boy pants.
It's going to be up to Bo to decide. Now, people are on the fence with him. I think we get, and I use this word a lot, enamored with big playability. And Bo Nix is another guy that is different because, yes, he can stay in the pocket and make big plays and make every throw, but he can also run very well too. Very athletic guy.
Right. And all right. Hang on. Here's the thing about Bo Nix. Okay. And he's another guy who's like Carson Beck. Okay. We joke about Carson Beck. Oh, Carson Beck. Yeah, of course he looks polished. He's 28 years old. He's got 2 mortgages. He's got an ex-wife. You know, he's
a great uncle.
He's a great uncle. Exactly.
Not literally a great uncle, but a great uncle.
A great uncle. Yeah. Okay, because he's 26, 27. He's old. And Bo Nix played 7 years of college football. Okay, he was at Auburn for 2 years. He was at Oklahoma State for 1 year, and then he was at Oregon for 3 years or some shit like that. But he played for a long ass time. Yeah. Okay, so when Bo Nix came to the NFL, of course he had a great rookie season. His rookie season, and once again, he wasn't the youngest guy on the damn field. So that being said, let's not discount the fact that Bo Nix will be able to step up and take some of that heat. And he is a guy who is used to playing in front of huge crowds. The pressure is not going to get to him. Okay, I'm telling you right now that Denver was a Bo Nix broken ankle away from possibly winning the Super Bowl. Because that defense was ridiculous.
Yeah, they were pretty tough.
Okay. And while Drake May can't stop and CJ Stroud can't stop throwing interceptions, Bo Nix can, because he knows to pull it down and run for 3 yards. He doesn't care.
Okay. Well, let's have a discussion then. I'm going to compare 2 teams, 2 quarterbacks.
Okay.
They're being taken relatively about the same. They're similar. Now, one quarterback's been falling in terms of the NFL executives, like I mentioned before, we talked about it last week,
right?
And also in terms of fantasy players as well.
Right.
So when we say about Denver starting off with a brutal schedule, the Ravens this year start off where their first 6 games are against non-playoff teams. And Lamar Jackson, who last year on that list, I think overall was, now this is overall NFL players, was number 2. And this year he came out as number 78 on the list.
The Dolphins are on that list of teams on that schedule, by the way. Yeah. I believe they go up to Baltimore in October.
But I'm sort of kind of thinking, since Lamar's been told a lot of things his whole life about what he can't do, and he's proved pretty much everyone wrong.
Oh, don't piss him off.
He's got that piece of paper on some sort of, hanging somewhere near his locker. So he's looking at that quite often. who are you taking right now in terms of fantasy for this year? And if you had the choice. Now, like I said, Bo Nix is being taken, I think, about 2 rounds ahead of Lamar Jackson. But that being said, I still kind of like Lamar Jackson this year because, again, give me the guy that everybody else is down on for what particular reason. They like to harp on, and what I'm seeing on TV when they're arguing that is they're showing clips of Lamar making a bad pass over the middle, or he's just missing a layup or something like, and they're like, oh, it's Lamar Jackson. Meanwhile, they're not showing the rest of the clips. Now
they're not showing the 25-yard frozen rope in the only place that the wide receiver can catch it. Zay Flowers, I believe is his name, the guy who just got a big ass extension.
I think that ultimately Lamar Jackson, from a passing perspective, is still a top 10 quarterback. You give him the offense. If he's in the pocket, out of the pocket, he's easily still, I'm talking flat out to be able to make that throw. He's inside that top 10 for me. Very easily.
ADP is what, 5th round?
Well, I'm
6th round.
I'm trying to restart it here. But no, Lamar Jackson's been going, I'm thinking about
What did you do? Did you break the internet? You broke something.
Well,
it's been a day for stuff being broken.
Yeah, I had one of those days, weeks, months too today. So, yay, we're connected. So, again, we talk about the ability for quarterbacks to generate points on the ground. I don't see that slowing down Lamar Jackson. I mean, the way his ability is to make plays with his feet. As a side note, I saw a top 10 list. Okay, top 10 list of active rushers in the NFL right now. Okay, 9 of those are running backs. Guess who the only quarterback on the list is? Yeah, Lamar Jackson. He's 4th or 5th, I think it was. Active rushers in the league. Oh, by the way, he's not a rusher. He's a quarterback. So he's still elite at both skill sets. And if I can get this damn thing to load,
he said load.
It's a no-brainer for me. Now let's look at the quarterback rankings. This is just based on
I'm gonna take it for granted that no text messages from my remote producers, so that the audio and video is all coming through quite well.
Okay, Bo Nix has been taken at about 114. Lamar Jackson is at 42. So there's about a 4-round difference there, 4 to 5 round difference,
and that's about right.
But what's going to happen, though, is, again, Nix right here is being taken as the 13th quarterback overall.
After Brock Purdy.
Once you get out of the first 4 or 5 guys, that next tier of 6 to 13, 14, you're splitting hairs. I mean, it really is going to depend on situational stuff. If, again, offensive line play is good, if they stay healthy and other things, that stuff you can't project. But
you gotta go for that secondary and tertiary factors.
Man. I mean, there really isn't much of a difference. Now here they've got Prescott at 77, so down the line, when ranking these quarterbacks, you have to look at a lot of different factors. And what I'm hearing mostly across the industry from some of those experts out there is that this year in particular, most of them are waiting. They're not reaching for the quarterback. They're not spending up on the Josh Allen.
Well, it's because there's going to be like 9 of them next year.
No. I'm talking about fantasy for this year, fantasy draft.
Oh, I thought you were talking about regular.
No, fantasy draft. One expert had suggested, depending on how your draft goes, the only way that you would maybe reach up for a Josh Allen, being the no-brainer for an early draft quarterback, would be as if you went in a position where you took like receiver, and then your first running back maybe is like, if you're lucky enough in the 3rd round, Kyron Williams. So you've got your top 2, you've got your top 2 receivers, which is, let's say, is going to be a Puka and a CeeDee Lamb, say. And then you're waiting on that bottom half 3rd round. And obviously you're going to take the best running back available. If you're in that position and you can get Josh, let's say even in that 3rd round, and lock up one of those guys, you essentially have another running back. So you lock up that ability. That, to me, is probably the best case scenario for taking Josh Allen. Otherwise, I'm not taking Josh in the second round, or I'm not going up and getting a quarterback early, because I think once you get down further down the list, I mean, what's the difference between here? They've got Lamar Jackson second, but let's say you get down to, so let's say even Jalen Hurts at 6, Jalen Hurts, Caleb Williams, Justin Herbert. When you go week by week on the average points scored, I mean, you're talking about maybe a point or two. That's going to be the difference.
One factor you have to watch out for is the floor on these quarterbacks. The floor, regardless of matchup, good matchup, bad matchup, the floor. Because you can run it, you can run out, you can trot a quarterback out, and you're going up against the number 25 pass defense in the NFL. But the running back behind them goes off for $125, 2 touchdowns, and they control the ball the whole game and they win. And you have a mediocre day, you score 14 points, 15 points.
Yeah, 25 pass attempts.
Yeah.
You don't even.
That's a decent floor.
That's a Jalen Hurts day potentially. It depends. Yeah.
Yeah, but you throw in rushing touchdowns.
That's why I think that in that second tier, I think what's even more important than the player selected is the format that you're in. Mm-hmm. Because we introduced best ball, we talked about that.
Right.
Most of us are still in season long, so you're starting a weekly lineup. So really, you're trying to guess each week which player is going to score the most points. But in a best ball format, we talked about, if you know certain guys are going to give you big weeks, their value increases, in my opinion. You may be getting that guy around earlier than most. Jameson Williams, same example. I don't know when that guy's going to get you 30 points, but he's going to do it 3 times. And you don't have to worry about it. You ain't got to worry about when you're putting him in there. It helps you with injuries as well. So
I think he likes to go off on the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, there's histories for certain teams too. But again, that's homework. It's work you got to do every week. Best ball, it's not that way. But so in terms of the quarterback list, again, that next tier, very close.
Your homework.
Not a lot of differences between that. You mentioned floor. I think that's very important. Each week we try and get to a total.
Right.
The leagues are different. I mean, in yours and Screwy Louie, 120 is probably a good week. I mean, that's going to win you most weeks.
Yeah.
You think?
120, 130 is
65% win percentage.
Easily.
The other leagues, maybe 10 points higher, 135.
Yeah, but you get to the Motley Crue League, you got to score 200 points every
sometimes it's ridiculous. Yeah. But so league types very important. Know your scoring systems. You need to know, what do I need to score each week? How many points does each position need to get me? How many quarterbacks start? 1. How many running backs? 2. Do the math. Extrapolate it out. My quarterback's got to get me 22 points a week. Well, in your mind, find 7 guys that you know are going to get you a baseline of that. That's your tier. Go to the running back. Same thing. You got to get 45 points out of the 2 positions combined. You hear simple things like RB1, RB2. And it's simple. It's where you're putting them in terms of how much points they get and what you think they're going to be. But your RB1 has to get you 18 points a week. Your RB2's got to get you 13 points. And you work it down the roster and fit these guys in those frameworks.
You sound neurotic.
Go prepared. I mean, that's just how you set up, tiers. I think it's a great way to start.
Okay. Well, before we go, we talked about this once again, alluding to our pre-show prep. And we talked about the sudden emergence of biological male basketball players wanting to play in the WNBA.
I think it's great. I've been stretching every day for the last 2 weeks.
Here comes your chance.
That's why I came in limping, just from the stretching.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why I'm not going to the WNBA. Sorry.
No,
I tried.
Yeah.
In my mind. All right, sorry. Go ahead.
No, they'd throw me out. It's just too many fouls. I'd be fouling all over the place. This is a foul, right?
Yeah, that's definitely a foul. Sure, especially with that face. That's definitely a foul.
I'll stand in the paint and somebody comes running by it.
All I'm going to say, based upon what you introduced, is that the commissioner of the WNBA has not handled this very well.
She doesn't handle anything very well.
Yeah, no surprise. Her comment was, and I don't know, it's going to be paraphrasing, but it was in reference to having to get the great minds of the WNBA together to determine what a female is. Now, that statement is so silly, but this seems to be the common thread throughout some of society now for some reason, where it's confusing to some what a woman is and what a man is. Now, we're not going to go into that discussion. It's pretty stupid. Men's have PPs, women don't. Simple. Okay. Check your pants. In this case, it's interesting how finally we're putting somebody who has to make a decision, who is the authoritative figure, to
it's the wrong person to make that kind of a decision.
You're putting
because you
baby
figure
in
it was
the corner.
easy. Yeah, you figure it was easy, but then it's a socio-politically charged situation.
It's crazy. It's
Okay, we've
insane.
been seeing for weeks now since Sophie Cunningham made the statement that she was glad that I believe it was Washington State voted down the
same sex
voted down trans
athletes.
women being able to play on girls teams. Okay, first of all, girls teams as in high school, as in middle school, as in adolescent sports teams for city. Just stop it. Just stop. I mean, come on. I am a huge ally of the LGBT community. I have family who are gay. I have tons of friends who are gay.
But I don't think they're the ones that are pushing that narrative.
No, and I don't think they are either.
It's the crazy, whatever wacko bastards that aren't even typically have children to begin with, or are even involved in sports. Right. So why are we catering to the minority in this discussion consistently?
Because they're loud.
So now,
the same way that we see with all of the people who are extremely political, oftentimes for no fucking reason whatsoever. Okay, kind of like the whole gender neutral bathroom thing. Is there a man or a woman on either of my bathrooms? No, there isn't. And but still, don't get me started about bathrooms.
No, there's just no common sense.
But let's just hold on to a little bit of common sense.
So some basketball boys got together and they're going to challenge the WNBA.
Yeah, like some former pros.
Yeah. And Ennis Cantor and a few other players now are coming out. Stacey Williams, maybe that just came to head, and somebody else. But whoever.
Here's my question.
They have to make a decision. That's why the WNBA.
And they're applying, saying they identify as a woman.
Just flat out stating that I am a woman, and I am declaring for the WNBA.
Did Enes Kanter have surgery, or is he even attempting to look like a woman?
I think
look like he identifies as a woman.
The other guy bought a wig.
That's kind of dumb.
Well, he looks like a woman now with a wig.
But is that his lifestyle?
It doesn't matter. The point is that without a guideline to establish who you are, gender specific, okay, boy or girl, that there has to be a rule in place. Because common sense doesn't apply in this situation.
Right.
So you have to have the letter of the law.
It's a socio-politically charged
topic. Whatever, fine. But it shouldn't be.
And I understand. Okay, you're repeating yourself.
Right.
Hang on one second.
No, I'm just saying.
Easy, Grandpa.
It has to be. It's very simple.
Okay.
The WNBA does not have anywhere in their legislative laws stating what a woman is. That's all. That's all I have to do is just change the literature, and this is over.
Well,
they decided not to do that.
Let me parse a few of the colors on the rainbow flag for you. Okay, not that I know what specific colors represent what. Okay, but if you're wearing a wig and lipstick, you're a drag queen. You can be straight. You can be married to a member of the opposite sex. You can have kids, but you're a drag queen. You like to dress up in makeup, and and some guys do it look really, really good.
Can a drag queen identify as a woman if they choose to?
When you are in drag, you are identifying as a woman. Okay. But you can't play basketball in drag.
Well, it doesn't matter.
Okay.
If they identify as a woman in any means necessary, because if you're not a woman and you're identifying as one, what gives you the right to do so? What proof is there?
I think that's what you would have to use, because the International Olympic Committee has a standard. There is a standard. There is a previous standard. There's a long-standing standard. Okay, and you have to have a certain a certain amount of hormones. You have to have there's genitalia requirements, but Yes, they do.
I know, but
Damn,
it's just
these Olympic athletes.
they should. They should.
Blood tests, urine tests, sight tests, naked pictures. You guys are freaks, but
and they should.
So you should go by that standard, okay? Because listen, you look at a lot of there's a lot of women in the WNBA who have masculine traits.
That's fine.
And I'm not worried about Brittany Griner, not worried about that.
But you're born either or.
Right.
It's simple.
Right. There's no question.
That's it.
There's no question.
We're done.
Okay.
We're done.
There's no question.
Simple.
Yeah.
You're born one way or the other.
Okay.
Drop your pants. Pretty simple.
Okay.
And unless you got a receipt to show you had it taken off, that's who you are.
I'm going to yank you off the air just to make sure that we don't get canceled.
Colts were 8-2 last year before Daniel Jones.
Well, that, and I'm trying to get out there and watch football.
I know.
So
Field of Dreams tonight. You got the Phillies are playing in Iowa tonight.
Oh, I don't want Kevin Costner to make me cry again. That speech that he did when he was that last year, year before.
This is their third year there.
But Costner with the monologue. Oh my God, I'm getting chills just talking about it. I'm getting goosebumps. All right, let's say our goodbyes. On behalf of myself and this guy over here who keeps flashing in and out.
Peace.
We will see you again next week, and I swear we're going to do podcasts, but we had severe technical difficulties today because microphone at home, and he's going to be bringing it with him next week.
Yep.
So we'll see you guys next week here on the Gonzo Radio Sports Desk. Bye.